I'm chatting to Sola David Bohra, who's the Chief Executive of Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC. Sola, thanks for your time. Let's start with your thoughts on the foreign exchange crisis that currently is gripping Nigeria and is seeing foreign investors potentially heading for the hills.
Yes, I mean, it's a fallout of the decline in commodity prices, and most economies that are dependent on commodities have had similar challenges. Given the impact on the external reserves of the country, certainly supply of dollars has come in, has dropped. Essentially, there are lots of engagements going on, and the aim is ultimately to allow the markets to have liquidity and begin to function normally. I believe that if that can be achieved, it will help to ease the pressure.
Do you believe that policy missteps have been made with regards to the Naira to this point?
Policies need to be responsive to situations, and we have seen policies that maybe could have been more supportive, but it has been in reaction to a pretty difficult situation. It's by driving exports, increasing the supply of dollars, that we can actually have a sustainable foreign policy situation.
Do you think that the impact of the foreign exchange crisis is going to be dramatic on foreign investor flows? We know well that investors want to deploy their money, grow their money, and be able to easily remove their money from their investments. If they can't get their money out of a territory, it's just a no-go area.
In the short term, but it's a transition. And Nigeria has been in this situation before. Exports should be the mantra for us, because diversifying our economic base and encouraging, processing of goods that will be exported is the only sustainable way to ensure that there is a regular and continuous supply of dollars into the economy.
To that point, is Stanbic focusing on funding beneficiating operations, factories, manufacturing plants?
Absolutely. That is our focus. We are very keen on working on the agri value chain in particular, so not just subsistence farming, but how do you add value? How do you process agricultural goods so that ultimately they are available for both the domestic market and for exports?
What do you make of the Nigerian balance sheet, so to speak? Are investors going to wake up with a huge surprise when official stats come out and the Nigerian economy potentially has fallen out of bed, lost its status as the biggest economy on the African continent?
The reality is that the Nigerian economy actually is quite diversified. And, the rebasing of the economy that led to us achieving the status of the largest economy in the country demonstrates that oil actually contributes sort of under 10% of GDP. You've got agri at 20%, you've got services, you've got telcos and manufacturing as well.
With that diversification, do you believe that you will hold the position as the powerhouse on the African continent?
Definitely, I think so. I mean, if you look at the other African economies, they are not faring better. So South Africa is number 2. South Africa's growth rate, is extremely low.
Below 1%.
And so they're number 2. I mean, the countries that are growing at 8% and above are really small. Size is not everything. So I don't think we should overplay that. I think the more important thing is driving growth in a sustainable manner. Financial inclusion is critical to achieving economic development, and just making sure that as many people as possible have access to finance is critical to move any economy forward.
Finally, your plans from a Stanbic IBTC perspective. You do have a presence as a broader group in 20 countries on the African continent. Do you see that growing from here? or are your investments going to remain the status quo in terms of the number of countries that you're invested in? Will that remain where it is at 20?
We are well positioned to continue to tap into the growth areas in the country, and I believe that will also drive growth across the continent.
Sola, thank you very much for your time. I've been chatting to Sola David Bohra, who is the Group Chief Executive of Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC.